What I want for society is for men to have a safe place to express their emotions and feelings, to get the help that they need at a young age before they turn into monsters, and for us to stop blaming this on mental health. Hey guys, welcome to Too Personal. I'm Joy Taylor. Thanks so much for joining us today. If you haven't already, make sure you hit subscribe. Follow us on social media at Too Personal Show. And thanks for hanging out. Hope you've enjoyed the past couple episodes. I had a great weekend, went to New York, really enjoyed myself. Going into the weekend, though, I saw a couple stories that I wanted to talk about. And then, unfortunately, another story came to light that added on to what I wanted to talk about at the end of last week. And that's what we're going to talk about today. I do want to say before we get started, this isn't the lightest episode. The episodes this week actually are not the lightest episodes. If you are easily triggered, this is your warning. There's going to be some conversations about some really intense topics. So I just want to say that out front. So let's get into it. The first story that I wanted to talk about at the end of the weekend was this digital blueprint CNN story investigation into motherless.com. It revealed a clear web subculture where predators share illegal content and teach it. So it's essentially a rape academy. It is a website that shows porn videos of women who are passed out and being abused by their husbands or boyfriends. There's other content on the website as well, but this is obviously what the CNN investigation is about. And through that website, these people get in touch with each other, talk on Telegram or other WhatsApp groups, and they share information on how to drug and rape their wives or girlfriends. Drug dosages, techniques to avoid detection, and the website had 26 million hits during the time where CNN was doing this investigation. That's a lot to process. And I have some thoughts, but then I wanted to get to the other story, which was the former Lieutenant Governor of Virginia, Justin Fairfax, murdered his wife, Dr. Serena Fairfax, in their home and then took his own life. They had a court-ordered move-out date, same roof separation, so they were already in the process of getting divorced, and immediately the conversation around the death turned to the murder and his death, suicide, turned to mental health and mental struggles and lost potential. He was dealing with sexual assault allegations and lost his career. He's an Alpha Phi Alpha. So his fraternity brothers were posting these really elaborate rest in peace, dear brother posts about his death, not even mentioning his wife. Roland Martin did a piece talking about mental health and, how to avoid these sort of situations, which got a lot of pushback. Sophia Nelson also talked about her relationship with him, and it effectively erased Dr. Serena Fairfax's life and positions Justin Fairfax as a man who essentially his potential was just never really seen, and not the reality of the situation, which was that a woman who was going through the proper channels to protect herself and her family was violently and intentionally murdered by her husband, which is full stop the story. And then this story just it's really hard to talk about. And the more that the details come out about this, the angrier I get, the sadder I get. But in Shreveport, Louisiana, a man named Shamar Elkins murdered 8 children, 7 of his own, ages 3 to 14, execution style. He also shot in the head his ex-wife and his current girlfriend. There are lots of details still coming out about this. Another child escaped by jumping off of the roof. The two women are in critical condition. The child who jumped off the roof is dealing with broken bones and recovering. And this massacre was just a horrible bookend on a week of really horrific stories, and just represented the worst case outcome of a domestic situation that was escalated. And it's just been a painful reminder that society prioritizes the legacy, the complex legacy of the perpetrator over the safety of the victim. And you have anonymous users on Motherless. You have people who are at the height of political power. You have veterans, you have fathers, all of these monikers to describe the people, the men who are perpetrating these horrific acts onto women and children. And the focus is on the why rather than how we can protect women and children. And to get to the personal side of this whole conversation and why I put those three stories together is I've talked a lot about being a domestic violence survivor. I've dealt with domestic abuse from the time that I was born. My very first memory on this planet is my father chasing my mother around the kitchen table and her begging him not to hit her. I have witnessed, unfortunately, every single different layer of abuse, from financial abuse to spiritual abuse, emotional abuse, physical abuse, mental abuse, sexual abuse. And I've seen the terror that these situations can cause, the generational trauma that tremors from men behaving this way. I've dealt with it from a domestic perspective, from obviously being in a home as a child. I've dealt with it as an adult. I've had extremely close friends of mine, a friend of mine murdered by her ex, who she got a restraining order against, started her life over, and was shot in the face and killed, leaving behind two young children. I've seen all of this from a very, very personal place. And so when I talk about these stories, it's not coming from an abstract of, wow, it's so sad, wow, their lives were cut short. It's such a bigger societal problem, how we talk about these incidents, how we frame what's actually happens, how we hold the people, the men. And I have to say men because it is men perpetrating this. The men who are abusing systems, taking advantage of the people that are closest to them, murdering and abusing women and children, and how as a society we better protect women and children. Because the why is obviously not fixing things. And my biggest takeaway as I thought of the first two stories over the weekend and then this horrific execution of this man's entire family, 7 children, 7 of his own children, and the other 8th child was their cousin, little babies, and shooting their mothers in the face. To bookends these stories, my real takeaway is there's just no safe space for women in the world. There's nowhere that's safe. You're not safe at home with your husband, who could potentially be drugging and raping you and putting that video on the internet and sharing it with people all over the world in private chats. You're not safe with the father of your children, who, when you try to leave him and go through the proper channels to do so, he says no and then kills himself and kills you rather than moving on with his life after you stood beside him through his career journey and awful accusations, horrific accusations. You're not safe with your family and your children because you're having marital issues or having relationship issues and you're supposed to go to court, and then he doesn't want that to be the outcome, so he kills the entire family. Where are you safe? And immediately people are going to go to, well, it's not all men. Well, most men aren't doing this. Well, I don't behave this way. Well, you're conflating, a few incidents with the entire world. I can tell you, it's a lot of men. Every single woman I know has dealt with being sexually harassed. Every single woman I know. Most women I know have dealt with sexual assault, abuse, molestation, or rape. Most women I know. A lot of women I know have dealt with physical abuse of some kind. This is not an abstract idea. Stop whatabouting everything away from the points. Yes, women can be abusers too. Yes, women have murdered people too. Yes, women are responsible for terrible things as well. They are not the majority. They are not committing these crimes at the level that men are. And it's not about hating men. What I want for society is for men to have a safe place to express their emotions and feelings, to get the help that they need at a young age before they turn into monsters, and for us to stop blaming this on mental health. Murdering your entire family, execution style, 7 children of your own, and an 8th family member is not about mental health. It's not about seeing a therapist. These are societal issues where women and children are not protected. Putting videos of your wife, the mother of your children, online for other men to consume after you have made her tea at night and put your child's sleeping pills in there, that is a societal, systemic issue, and it has to be addressed. When I saw the story of Giselle Pellico, who was wife to bitch-ass Dominic Pellico, who was drugging her and raping her for over a decade and inviting other men to come into their home and assault and rape her, I couldn't, even saying the words, it turns to ash in my mouth. It's so unimaginable to me that you could trust someone that much, that in your own home, they are the danger, to that level. Because I'm aware that most women who are murdered by men are murdered by their spouse or their partner. That's a statistical fact. The person closest to you is your biggest danger. And for that story, to go on for as long as it did, and really the only reason he was able to be prosecuted is because he had to take videos and share it with other people. And now we know that this is happening all over the world. There's so many stories of this. At what point do we just either accept that protecting women and children is not a charge of society, and that women and children should do whatever they can to protect themselves? Or we sit down and have the conversation of how we're raising young men, how we're holding men who are violent accountable, how you as men, when you're in the rooms together and someone makes a joke about that, or someone makes a comment, you don't hold them accountable to the highest level so they feel that shame and understand that wrong. What are we to do as women? We didn't invent this system. We don't have the power in this system. The laws are going backwards. If we speak out, we're accused of lying. If we go to the police, we're told we shouldn't have been drinking, or we shouldn't have worn that thing, or why were we in that room, or why did we get in that car, or why did we go to that house? The victim blaming it's past the point of being obvious. The way that these stories are reported on continue the cycle. Oh, it's such a shame. He was such a promising young man. You want a good movie, by the way? Promising Young Woman is a crazy movie. Have you ever seen that movie? Well, if you're in the mood for a very dark film, um, it's it's great, but it's right along the lines of what I'm talking about. And I don't know. I don't know that I have the solution for this. I don't know if I'm just venting, and sometimes I do just use the podcast to just vent about what I'm frustrated about, and it sits so deeply in my spirit that we are constantly talking about this. We're constantly talking about fixing the home and fixing the family, and no abortions because we need these children in the world, and we do nothing. And I say nothing because what the fuck are we doing? What are we actually doing? You're not safe in your own home. If you can't be safe there, where are you supposed to be safe? You can't jog at night. You can't wear revealing clothing. You're supposed to have pepper spray on you all the time. You got to keep your head up when you're walking in the parking garage. You can't be too sexy. You can't be too thin. You can't have too many curls in your hair. You can't wear lashes. You can't wear makeup. If you don't wear makeup, what the fuck are you supposed to do? You got to get married. But if you get married to the wrong guy, he could fucking kill you and your entire family, shoot you in the face, and then it's because it's PTSD. So, guess that's why. So sad. I don't know. I don't even know if I'm making sense at this point, but all I know is I can't fix the problem, and women can't fix the problem. Women didn't invent the system. They don't hold the system up outside of you goofy ass pick-meshas, which we'll get to at another time. Men have to fix this. Men created this. Men are at large the perpetrators of this. And yeah, just to the women who hear these stories and are triggered or have survived these experiences, very luckily, like myself, to the women who have lost sisters or friends or mothers or family members to this kind of violence, as I have, I sit with you today because it's how I felt at the beginning of the weekend. And then to see that story in Louisiana, I was just like, wow, I can't believe, because obviously this is constant, it feels at this point, but it's such a horrific, unimaginable situation. I saw a woman crying, and it was their aunt. And I talked about my nieces and nephews last week. I can't imagine the terror and the pain that family is going through. Nothing will ever be the same. The child that survives, I mean, what? It's just, I don't know. I've run out of words. But to transition in a very hard way, because there's no way out of that conversation without it being a rough jolt. Something that I have been doing that I think I'm gonna make a part of my routine, because I consume so much, and so much out there is negative, and that's just the state of the world that we're in right now. And I don't want to abandon my cause. I don't want to abandon my voice at the expense of balance. A lot of what I've been thinking about lately is like, I'm being told I need to check out a little bit. I need to stop reading so much bad stuff. Everything, my algorithm is just, repeating and reinforcing. And I'm like, yeah, I know that's what algorithms do, but the stories have to be there for the algorithm to be filled with them. And it seems like there's just a surplus of this news, and it doesn't seem to be going away, and it doesn't seem to be getting better. And I don't know that it's just me and what I consume. So you gotta check out somehow. And yeah, I'm joining the whimsy movement. I've been on this for a little while, just introducing a little bit of whimsy in my life where I can. And, it's just this radical push for autonomy and softness, and just the right to be a little unserious in what is a very dark and unserious time in the world. So, for example, my whimsy little sweater. I love this sweater. It's a crazy sweater, admittedly, but I always get compliments on it. And yeah, it's a bright sweater. I love a little bit of color. My house is full of color. It's a pink pop girl palace. There's color everywhere. Pink and orange and yellow and blues. I am not a gray millennial. I love a bunch of flowers, gardening for sure, my music, art. I'm whimsical with love. I want to watch a movie or a show that just like brings a little fun. My dear Haley has completely bullied me into reading these fairy books. A Court of Thorn and Roses. I'm almost finished. Great sex descriptions. A little romancy for me. Gotta be honest. I'm like, okay, girls. The biting of the neck. Okay, I get it. A little chew here and there. Leaving the mark is crazy. But anyway, you got to have some whimsy in your life and try a little bit every day. If it's a little sweet treat, if you see a cute little sweet treat, have yourself a little sweet treat. If you want to put that barrette in your hair, go ahead and do it. If you want to go all the way and go to the Renaissance Fair at a full costume, do that too. I think that you have to find, whatever it is that brings joy to you. There's all this like little joy here, little joy there, a little fun. There is no balance to me at this point in my life. I don't know what balance is. I'm not going to achieve it. It's not my purpose here. My purpose is to be radical and loud and explosive and ferocious. And there is no balance in there. I take naps. Okay. That's my balance. But when it comes to mentally surviving in this like really overwhelming time, I'm just going to be unapologetically whimsy when I fucking feel like it. So if I come in here and I have green hair, y'all are going to have to deal with it that day. And I'm not fucking explaining myself. This is just what we're doing. As you can see, I've changed my hair. That's pretty normal. I change my hair a lot, but who knows? Who knows what it is next week? Okay. And then you're going to have to fucking deal with it. If I decide I want elf ears, that's what we're doing. And you should too. I encourage this whimsy in your life, girls, because it's a lot and it feels overwhelming. Everything does, not just the things that I was talking about earlier. And yeah, so that's what I'm doing. So join me on my whimsy experiment. Send me your whimsy things. I'm very excited about it. I love a cute pillow. Okay. My house is overcome with pillows. I just got another pillow this weekend. It says, I'm too fragile for your no, I'm fucking it up. I'm too clumsy for your male fragility. That's a pillow I have in my house. So that's how I live. So anyway, yeah, send me your whimsies. I would love to hear about them and see if I can introduce some of that myself. Before we get to Never Too Personal, I do want to read these. If you are experiencing any of the things that I talked about earlier, the National Domestic Violence Hotline, 1-800-799-SAFE. That's 7233. You can text START to 88788. The website is thehotline.org. The National Sex Assault Hotline is 1-800-656-4673 or 1-800-656-HOPE. And you can chat online.rainn.org. And if you have just a crisis that you need help with, you can text HOME to 741-741. So if you need any of those resources, please reach out before it is too late. And as someone who has used domestic violence resources before, they are certainly helpful and they are there to help you, and you are not alone, and you can save yourself and save your children and save your life. And no, it won't be easy, but it is better than the alternative. So, yeah, we'll leave that there. All right, time to get to Never Too Personal. If you want to be a part of the show, you can email us at twopersonalpodcast@gmail.com, or you can DM us, or you can send us a message on Instagram, which you should be following anyway, Too Personal Show on Instagram. So this week's question on Never Too Personal: what's something you refuse to compromise on no matter what? Easy answer: my peace. My peace cannot be disrupted. Nope. Unsubscribe. Don't unsubscribe to the show, but unsubscribe to disrupting my peace. I am militant about my peace. Anything that anyone does to upset that in a very real way, it is a hard line for me. I will cut someone off, snip, never think about it again. I do not tolerate any kind of toxicity. I don't tolerate people who are unreasonable with their mistakes or when they do things that are hurtful without any kind of accountability. I have been through entirely too much in my life. I've worked so hard on my boundaries and leaving my codependency behind me. I will not have my peace disrupted. I will fucking destroy you. Or worse, I will cut you the fuck off for the rest of all eternity and never think about it again, which for some people is far worse. I have lived in such chaos and such anarchy for so long. Having a peaceful life is the greatest achievement that I could ever have hoped for as a little girl. And while I would love always to add to my peaceful life, it will only be additions that also include peace. That's a hard line for me. I don't care if you're family. I don't care if you're a friend. I don't care if you're a partner. I don't care if you're work. I am unreasonably militant about my peace because it is so hard to achieve. It is so hard to find in this life. It's so hard to build a peaceful life. And yeah, it's not the priority for everyone. And I get it. I think a lot of people would like peace. But for me, going through my journey of from my childhood and the abuse there to the chaos in my youth to many years of different environments that were unhealthy for me, I prioritize peace over absolutely everything else in my life, and I'm grateful for it. And it's not a life for everyone. Like some people like a little, they like a little steam. As soon as it starts getting frictiony, I'm out. And listen, that is not for everyone. And I'm sure it'll be a point of contention in a lot of conversations throughout my life. And I do not care because I know what makes me feel full and what truly brings me happiness and what I'm willing to sacrifice to achieve that peace. And it's a lot. It's a lot for sure. I just cut a friend off. She don't even know she cut off yet. She don't even know, bitch. She's gone. Clip, clip. Woo! Such an easy decision. Such an easy decision. What the fuck are you doing? Huh? Gone. A good friends. But listen, honey, you have 0 times to be weird with me. 0. This many. The first time you're weird with me is the last time you're weird with me. I do not repeat bullshit, dumbass habits. Play in my face. You'll never see my face the same way again. It'll be from afar. And that's just what it is. And I know everyone doesn't live like this. I know everyone doesn't want this. But from where I sit, the one thing I will never, ever compromise on is my peace. So that's that. Don't fuck with me. You will be gone. Sad place to be on the other side. You don't want to be in the pit. There's no way out. I call it the abyss. It's like when you get blocked on social media by me. Send them to the abyss. Thanks for joining us this week. Make sure that you subscribe and follow us on social media at Too Personal Show. Email if you want to be a part of the show, and we will catch you next time.